Hello everyone. Today I'm discuss about basic distributed architecture. A distributed system is a software system in which components located on network computer communicate and coordinate their action by passing messages. The component interact with each other in order to achieve a common goal. The principle of distributed system is it consists of a collection of computers that is connected through a network and a distributed middleware, which enable computers to coordinate their activities and to share the resource of the system so that user pre-receive the system as a single integrated computing facilities. Characteristics of distributed system is a one common with non-autonomous parts, components shared by user all the times, all resources accessible, software run in a single process, single point of control, single point of failure. Features of DS is to access distributed system, resource sharing, openness, concurrency, scalability, fault tolerance, and transparency. Example is telecommunication network, telephone network and cellular networks, and computer networks such as internet, intranet, wireless sensor networks, and so on. A model of distributed system is in the real world environment should be designed to function correctly in the widest possible range of circumstances and in the face of many possible difficulties and threats. Each type of model is to provide an abstract and simplified but consistent description of a relevant aspects of distributed system design. First model is a physical model. Physical model is capture the hardware composition of a system in terms of computers and their interconnecting networks. Architecture model describe a system in terms of the computational and communication tasks performed by its computational elements. The computational elements being individual computer or aggregate of them supporting by appropriate network interconnection. The software layer is a familiar one and is closely related to abstraction. In the layer approach, a complex system is participated into a number of layers with a given layer making use of the services offered by a layer below. A given layer therefore offer a software abstraction with higher layered being unaware of implementation details or indeed of any other layers. Next one is a system architecture in DS. The first one model is a client server. The client, and one side we have a client and the other side we have a server. Client send a request to a server and server give a response to a client. This is a basic process of client server architecture system. Second one is a peer-to-peer. In this architecture, all the processor involved in a task or activity plays similar role, interacting cooperatively as a peer without any distinguish between client and server process or the computer on which they run. In particular terms, all participating processes run the same program and offer the same set of interface to each other, while the client server model offer a direct and relatively simple approach to the shared of data and other resource. It's scalably poorly. Next topic is a node of a distributed system. In a node of distributed system, we have a multiprocessor and multi-computers. When we discuss about multiprocessor and multi-computers, we have some features, private versus shared memory and bus versus switches interconnection. The first one diagram is a shared memory. Second one diagram is a private memory. They interact with a bus system and a switch based. What is operating system in DS? Present users with an integrated computing platform that hide the individual computers, has control over all the nodes in the networks and allocate their resources to tasks without user involvement. In a distributed OS, the user does not know where his program are running. The example is cluster computer system, V system. In fact, there are no distributed operating system in general use. Only network operating systems such as Unix, Mac OS, Windows. And next is a combination of middleware and network system. It's have a general use. User have such invested in their application software. Users tends to prefer to have a degree of autonomy for their machine. The computers in the OS, we have a task or components, task like a processing, storage, communication, and components like a kernel, library, user label, services. Distributed operating system, it has some characteristics. OS on each computer know about the other computers. OS on different computer generally the same. Severally are generally distributed across computer. This is a diagram of distributed operating system services. We have a machine A, B, C, and have an individual kernel of machine A, B, and C, and distributed application and distributed OS. It's an interface between the machine and kernel. Next, network operating system. Each computer has its own operating system with networking facilities. Computers work independently. Services are tied to individual nodes, highly file oriented. Machines A, B, and C is connected individual kernel, and kernel is connected with a network OS services, and distributed system applications is an interface between machine or network OS services. Distributed system middleware. It has some characteristics. OS on each computer need not know about the other computers. OS on different computers need not generally be the same. Several services are generally distributed across computer. This diagram is a distributed system middleware, and the distributed application and network OS services is connected with a middleware services. This is a basic description of DOS, NOS, and middleware. Design issue in distributed operating system. First one is a persistent, second one is transparency, third one access. Access means a high difference in data representation and how a resource is accessed. Location means hide where a resource is allocated. Migration means hide that a resource may move to other location. Relocations hide that a resource may be moved to other location while in a use. Replications means hide that a resource may be shared by several competitive users. Next one is concurrency, and last one is a failure. Failure means hide the failure and recovery of a resource. Distributed computing. Distributed computing means in message passing data is sent between two processes via send or receiver. In the client server model, the services provide services and wait for client to connect to it. Message passing computing, like message passing is the most fundamental paradigm for distributed application. A process send a message representing a request. The message is delivered to a receiver which process the request, and the sender a message is respond. In terms, the reply may trigger a further request which lead to a subsequent reply. Next paradigm is a client server. Client server model assigns us asymmetric role to corroborating process. One process, the server play the role for a services provider which wait passively for the arrival of requests. The other, the client, issues specific requests to the server and await its response. Next, peer-to-peer distributed computing. Peer-to-peer distributed computing, the participating process play an equal role with equivalent capabilities and responsibilities. Each participant may issue a request to other participant and receive a response. Last one is the trends in distributed system. Trends means its use in emergence of spread network technology, emergence of ambiguous computing coupled with desire to support user mobility and distributed system, increased demand for multimedia services, and the view of distributed system as a utility. Thank you.